Welcome to our educational Zoom here. I'm going to talk a little bit about how to start and grow a spa business based on my book, Solo Therapist to Spa Empire. So this is not my book specifically, but I'm taking a lot of information from there. You can also get that book on Amazon. But this is a little bit about me. I started as a solo practitioner. I came as an immigrant to US when I was 19. And I've looked for a while what I wanted to do as far as my professional career, and then eventually I stumbled upon wellness. Initially, I moved here to do music. But I didn't had much funds. I didn't had the contacts or money to start with. So I started small. I started renting one treatment room. So it's what's the most important lessons I've learned when you wanna get into a business, it's gonna be a mindsets change and embracing, that you have to be adaptable and self-learning. You have to be big on personal development because there's a lot of competition out there and you need to knowledge is power. You really need to arm yourself with the best ways to do business so you're not gonna fail. You're gonna have to learn how to manage staff, how to deal with certain client situations, manage cash flow smart, and then eventually shift your identity from thinking just like a technician in a treatment room, a massage therapist or a esthetician, to identity, a business owner and manager. So you can start with, focusing on one main service that you want to offer, like massage therapy or facials, for example, or waxing. And you can start that with minimum overhead. Just one treatment room usually doesn't take much to break even. You can find even clients in networking events. And, you know, start small doesn't mean you go cheap. You still want to purchase quality equipment, quality products. I've seen people, well, they say I don't have money, so I'll go with this cheaper skincare line. But it's very important to still keep that quality because that will set the precedent for your reputation and for your growth. And you can test out, if you fail when you're smaller, you realize this is not for you. You haven't spent hundreds of thousands of dollars to realize that this business is not for you. So that's why I recommend if you're a hands-on person, you can start with, one treatment room and then you can grow into bigger. Now, if you're an investor, you don't have to start with them that one room. You have the capital, the line of credit that you can already start bigger, right? But I'm just sharing that it's possible to start wherever you are. There's really where there's a will, there's a way. So you want to always look at the location because that's a really important aspect, whether you're gonna start small or whether you're gonna start medium to large size spa. You want to go where people are, where population is. Competition is actually good. If there is other people in the area, doesn't mean you shouldn't open. That just means that there is probably clients there that want these type of services. Of course, you don't want to open like right next door to somebody that already has a very established, spa right next door, but you could open, 5-10 minutes away from it. And you can check, if that place is booked out, that means, okay, there's still room for other businesses to come in because they can only handle so many customers, right? And then you might wanna choose landlord or people that or owners of the building that are more flexible with you as a starting beginners, as a starting, in this business. You can negotiate certain terms like the fit up and like sinks or something else you might want to have done or installed in a space, because having a good landlord, that can also make business experience way more easier or harder than it needs to be. And you want to focus on, is the parking good? Is the ambience of the building? If there's like a smelly food restaurant that's gonna make your spa smell like fried chicken all the time, that's not a good location, right? Even if you're getting a good deal on it. So you really have to have that attention to detail. This well as well, quietness, is that building quiet, or is there a nightclub next door that's gonna start playing music every time, in the afternoons, late afternoons, that you're still seeing clients 6 or 7 p.m. Um, and then you can also see if there's room for growth, like spaces that maybe have more other spaces in the building you could expand to. So you could think like that long term when you start, especially when you start smaller. And you wanna have start with a strong foot from the beginning. You wanna have brand opening, flyers, information, get out there in the community, network, get busy online, post on social media, asking customers for those, especially those first couple years, asking customers for reviews, and then of course very important to continue doing that to maintain engagement, and because new people love to read reviews, and also they can see what was the last time review that people left. They can see the dates. So getting in that habit, generating reviews is going to be very important. um, Personalizing experience. That's why we personally, our brand, we offer bespoke services, because we want to customize and tailor each treatment in, because everyone is an individual. Nobody likes cookie cutter experience, right? That's how we make the people feel special, when we remember their preferences, remember little details about them. And you want to train your team to do that as well, build relationships, and that's why people return. Another very important aspect is going to be to learn um, paid advertising as well, organic digital growth, but then also Google and Facebook meta advertising. Um, Instagram, you want to find the right keywords. When you start out, you want to focus on more narrow keywords. When you have smaller budget, when you have more people, then you could expand into more broad keywords, because Google, of course, they always going to recommend you to use broad keywords, but you got to be careful with those, because you can spend a lot of money, and sometimes those keywords that are too broad are not going to be too relevant to all of your services. So you have to monitor those. And then with meta ads these days, they have to be engaging, they have to be entertaining or educational, something that really grabs people's eyes. Of course, with the huge budget, you can even make the bad, boring ads work for you. But these days, people really are desensitized to advertising, just boring advertising online. So you want to make it fun to watch. And another thing, hiring, as an owner in the spa world, you will have to learn how to discern which is a good person to add to your team. Their attitude is going to be very important. When to hire, when you see that your current team is starting to get booked out, you got to make sure you start already thinking for the future, adding more people, because people get sick, people move away. So you don't want to always be, just have enough staff or be understaffed. It's better to have more than not enough people to serve customers, because that's the growth happens. You have to have more open spots than what you're booking out. And then you gotta figure out, how you're gonna reward your team. It's gonna really depend on your labor costs in your area. It could be 40%, it could be 35. Um, if, possibly up to 50, if depends how, your bonuses are set up with everything combined, that could go up to that high for some people. But you got to make sure that you're able to pay your overhead, your bills and taxes, because if they're assuming there are employees, you're paying their a large portion, half of their tax as well. And you still want to have some profit margin left to make sure you can survive as an owner and thrive and be able to grow and hopefully open more locations. That's the goal, right? Well, not for everybody, but um, to be rewarded for the risks that you took to open up the business, to grow the business. And at the end of the day, um, also people don't work in businesses just for, I mean, compensation is a big part to have competitive compensation, but also is the values, the lifestyle, the culture that is gonna have very big determining factor if you're able to have a great team. We're really big at it at our place, Brilliant Massage and Skin, because we want to be happy when you come to work. Of course, it's not our job to make other people happy, but we can at least facilitate, these conditions that gonna make more happy than not. Uh, and when you decide that, okay, you wanna, grow, you wanna automate things, you gotta look at your tech stack, your software, and then you can, think about adding more services. You can start, testing some and see how it goes. And if you have one successful location, then you can think about adding another one. I think having slower but more grounded growth is usually works out better than jumping ahead of yourself. The other thing that really can impact business success is your place clean? Keeping it clean, keeping it organized is gonna make or break your reviews, your perception, people's perception of the business. You wanna keep that everything working well with the automation, with the software, like automated messages. That's the same as cleanliness when they come in. That's going to determine that 5-star versus 4 or 3-star experience. And then deciding what policies you want to implement into the business. Taking intake forms is very important. We require prepayment for our customers, for example. We have 24-hour cancellation policy, which we're flexible on certain circumstances because we believe retaining a customer is always better idea than trying to find new customers. So, if it's a sickness or canceled flight, we give credit towards next sessions. We might not do refund, but we will honor, when they come in next time instead, for example. So it's up to you as a business owner to decide on these policies, but you have to have something to protect yourself because, there are people that if you don't put these policies out there, they will think that it's okay, just not show up, or, that their emergency is more important. But your time and therapist pay, we have to protect their time and pay as well. And once you establish your spot, then you can try to think about other ways. You can think about investing in real estate, investing in other channels, like stocks. Those are things that I think first is important if you're like new to entrepreneurship and business, is investing in yourself in education, support, mentorship. So whether it's buying into franchise, whether it's hiring a coach, whether it's buying, books on that subject, or going to school, university, and learning as much as you can about these things, and then doing itself, as of course, is like the top learning experience. But when you have more knowledge, you will be less prone to learn from your own mistakes. It's better to learn from other people's, right? And have good mentors to protect you. But then you can think about investing in other things as well. That's the beauty of once you have established business. So just to recap, this is blueprint to opening. So you're going to have to design your service menu, design your target market. For us, it's male and female. For massage and for aesthetics, it's more of female clientele. You're going to have to decide your equipment. Location, like I mentioned, is very important. The team, the type of team you want to have, are they more, do you want people that are full-time, part-time? Do you not care? Do you want to hire people that have a certain years of experience, or do you don't mind helping people get into this industry, mentoring them? You have maybe a lead therapist that can mentor them. Then you're going to look at your financials, whether you want to whether you do have savings, or you need to get a line of credit for your business. You might then, of course, any licensing permits you might need with the city for, like, for example, aesthetic shop. And marketing is going to be very important, knowing how you're going to market, how you're going to acquire these customers, what kind of experience they're going to have. Now, don't skip these things. Don't skip market research. Do not try to do too many things at once. Oh, I want to have a hair salon and nails and massage and facials. That sounds fun, but you want to also have that niche target clientele focus. For us, it's like 60% of our revenue is massage therapy, and then skincare, like facials, waxing, hydrofacial, teeth whitening. Those are more like a complementary add-on almost services. But our core was started with massage therapy, and then we added some. But we're not doing nails, we're not doing hair salon, haircuts, because we want to stay strong, the best at what we do. When you branch out too much, that can be too much, unless it's maybe a whole separate business. Remember about organization, cleanliness, costs that might not be calculated in. You want to have like a buffer always as well. And don't rush. It takes time. It actually takes longer than you think to start and grow a business and gain traction in new markets. So be prepared, to have some patience as well. Unless you get very lucky, there are sometimes certain areas, certain locations that just you get like blown out of even your wildest expectations. But it doesn't, usually that is not really the case. You do need some time for the attraction. And yeah, so the 5 actions I would recommend to take now is write down your business plan. Keep reinvesting in your business growth as you start to, see some customers walking in. And yes, it's true that sometimes owners have to go without paycheck themselves. Hopefully not too long, but that happened to me. That happened to many other owners, that during certain periods, certain seasons in your life, in your business life, you might need to do that. So be prepared for that. And your network is going to be your net worth. Very important. Build relationships with other local businesses in your area. Track your progress, your numbers. When you have the data, you can make the right decisions. You can track your retention, how your staff is doing, how what is the rate of your customer returning, what your reviews are saying. And if you do get setbacks, don't worry, everybody makes mistakes and has setbacks. That's how we grow, that is how we learn. And I want to finish with the quote that we start from nothing, but with time and effort we shine, and that's why we call brilliant massaging skin. That's how our spa is called. And it's like diamonds. They're starting from dirt, from coal, and then they become in through work, pressure, and effort, they become into something beautiful and shiny. So you have to believe in that and not give up. It won't be easy, but it's definitely worth it, especially if that's your calling, that's your dream. So, does anybody has any questions?
Hello there. Hello, this is Lee. So I'm just trying to see. Of course, my dream is to have my own business. Uh, but given the money that I will invest, how long do you think uh, I can have my ROI? Given that I could have a good location. Mm-hmm. How long do you think I could have my ROI?
Yeah, so you should be able to break even depending how big of a spa you wanted to open. Whether it's like a medium, maybe 5 treatment rooms, or maybe a bigger if it's more densely populated area, if it's 10 treatment rooms. That's gonna determine that timing. Like if somebody is a solo therapist, they can break even very quickly, probably within 6 months or less, because they only have that one treatment or 2 treatment rooms. They only have one employee, but they are doing services themselves. Now, if you're not doing services themselves, you're a manager, you're an investor, you're an owner, then it might be a couple years realistically. So you have to have that expectation that there that I need to have my housing costs covered, or maybe I have a spouse that can help me within that first year, the second year, until business starts producing, once I get back my initial investment and then I start to make profit. But as you pay down, if you took, let's say, a loan, you can have profitable months and you can take some profit towards yourself, your own expenses, and then some of that profit would go towards repaying the debt. So, you can still, depends how aggressively you want to pay down, how quickly you want to pay down that initial investment. That's gonna depend and vary as well, and on which of area of the town, like country or town you would be in. That will depend how high or low that initial investment would cost as well. How much do you think in your area, how much it would cost to to like commercial real estate, and because we don't have really expensive pieces of equipment in the
Mhm.
spa world. But so the biggest is gonna be like finding a rental space, and then marketing. But initial, it's not, and then you gotta hire people. But those you only pay them with commission. But how much do you think it would be in your area?
Not sure, but once we join or once we sign up for franchising, do you offer trainings, especially as a first time business owner? Do you offer trainings or help with uh, with the system?
Yes. So we would,
Mm-hmm.
if you wanted to, operate within our brand using our systems, technology, marketing, blueprint, everything. We would do research for you. We would find, will help you find commercial space in your area. We would then help you with hiring locally therapist as well, but give you best practices, for interviews and examples of compensation and things like that. We would train you how to do day-to-day operation and everything you would need. You would be able to ask at any time as well. So you would get that initial training and then ongoing support.
Okay. Good to know about that. Mhm.
Yes, because going in business by yourself, it can be stressful
Mhm.
and it can be daunting because we are afraid of failure as people, and we don't want to make the wrong decision. We don't want to dwindle also our savings or go into debt for something that might not work. So sometimes it's cheaper to, well, not sometimes, I think most of the time, it's cheaper to hire like a mentor or buy into franchise, invest into your own education. It is gonna save you money in the long run because when you have that support, then they can tell you, okay, well, this is what we should do now. This is what I would do in this situation. And this is the location I think you should move to, or, or this person you need to hire, this position, for example, or not. So the, there is that those safeguards that come with investing into working, with the yeah, you will be paying a royalty to the franchise, but in return you get much more than what it would cost you if you failed, if you tried on your own and you failed, which a lot of businesses fail. Majority of businesses actually don't last more than 5 years, at least in the US. Very few businesses that make it. But when it's done with the franchise, the success rates are much, much higher. It's like 80% or more with franchise as opposed to probably only 20% on their own.
Mhm. Okay. Good to
Yeah.
hear.
So, any more questions?
That's all I have
Okay.
now, right now.
Okay. All right. Well, thank you for joining the Zoom, and this will be recording as well on our YouTube channel, and I might upload it to our Facebook as well. So if you're watching this recording and you want to learn more, don't hesitate to get in touch with us. Our website is brilliantmassageandskin.com/franchise if you're interested more about the business part. Also, you can, like I mentioned in the beginning, you can get my book on Amazon as well, and we can help you. Have a brilliant day. Thanks.